Yes, I'm aware I should know this. Just tell me one more time. What is the difference between a duvet and a comforter? I don't understand. Hi, I'm Gruffus. Welcome to Puppet Tabletop, and today we're going to be taking a look at Hot Streak. Okay, so does that mean like a duvet is just a deconstructed comforter? Like, what's going on? I freaking love mascots. Sports mascots, corporate mascots, regional mascots, you name it, I love mascots. So you can imagine my excitement when CMYK announced that they were releasing Hot Streak, a goofy game that sees 2 or more players all betting on wacky and chaotic mascot races. And I was absolutely pumped to get my hands on it. So, without further ado, let's meet the mascots. You know him, you love him. Representing the town of Boxford, we've got Hurley the Bun Banger. That's right, don't be deceived. Hurley is not a hot dog, but instead an independently invented and legally distinct meat-filled tube in a soft split bun called a bun banger. And I love this bun banger. He's perfect in every way. Up next, representing the town of Glenbrook, he's hungry, he's fierce. It's Gobbler. But wait, what happened to Glenbrook's former mascot, Tony the Turkey? Well, a while back, he was consumed by a traveling circus bear named Gobbler in a tragic incident, so the town decided to adopt Gobbler as its new mascot, having shown his superiority over Tony the Turkey. Wait, what's that smell? All the way from the coastal port city of Ashford, it's Dangle! Dangle became the official mascot of the Ashford team after a waterspout rained deep-sea fish onto the field during a game and their pitcher was vertically swallowed whole by a fish. Dangle represents that fish. And last but not least, it's time to bow down to your queen. It's Mum from Queverland. Thanks to a postal and cartography mishap, Queverland never technically left the British Empire after the Revolutionary War, and even though the town is in the US, it still flies the Union Jack. Mum became their new mascot, after their former mascot, Robbie the Redcoat, was retired due to a regrettable show of team spirit during a live 4th of July event. These 4 mascots are now competing in a series of foot races, and being the degenerate gambler that you and your friends are, you're here to try and make some money. At the beginning of the game, you'll set up the racetrack and the scoring podium, but this actually doesn't require you to take anything out of the box. Instead, the field and the podium are both part of the box. You unroll the field out of the bottom of the box, and the podium is printed on top. How awesome is that? It makes everything easy peasy. Then, line up the mascots and you're almost done. The last thing to do is set out the stack of side bets, lay out the bet cards, and give everyone their starting money in a hand of 3 racing cards. This is one of those games that's clearly designed to be set up and started pretty quick. But hold on, let me explain the rules first. First, you'll be drawing and revealing a number of racing cards based on the player count. These cards are going to form the racing deck that you'll be using to determine how each of the mascots is going to behave during the race. They include things like mascots moving forward 2 spaces, mascots swerving to the side, mascots falling down, and even mascots turning around completely. Since all of the cards that are used to make this race deck are revealed at the beginning of the game, everyone should have a pretty good idea about who is more and less likely to succeed in the race. And there are bets you can take corresponding to each mascot that you think might place in first. But there's also a side bet happening. At the beginning of each race, a new side bet will be revealed with a yes or no question. Will at least one mascot be disqualified? Will Gobbler finish in the bottom too? It's a lot of stuff like that. Starting with the first player, each player will pick one of the bets laid out around the table. Which mascot do you think is going to come in first? Grab that mascot's top bet card. Want to get in on that side bet action? Grab one of those yes or no cards instead. As bets are taken, the ones underneath them are revealed, but they're less valuable than the ones on top. As a result, being the first person to grab a bet is always better. But also, how confident are you in your bet? Would you say you're pretty confident? Maybe even ready to take a risk? Well, when you grab your bet, you can choose to use it for its standard payout, or you can take the bet and place it in front of you with the risky side on the back face up. It'll have a higher payout if you win, but a smaller payout or maybe even a loss if you lose. Regardless of which bet you choose, as soon as everyone has taken a bet, everybody takes a second one, but this time in reverse order from the first round of drafting. After each player has made 2 bets, players each pick 1 card from the 3 in their hand and place it face down next to the revealed racing cards. These are going to be shuffled into the racing deck at the beginning of the race, and you can use this opportunity to maybe sabotage a mascot, or perhaps help one of the mascots that you've bet on. Players are also encouraged to talk about which card they're placing into the racing deck as a way of coordinating or maybe bluffing and sabotaging an opponent. The only rule is you're never allowed to reveal these cards that you're adding to the deck. There must always be an air of mystery. Then, all of the cards are scooped up and shuffled together. Then, 3 cards are discarded from the top of the shuffled racing deck. This is to add just a little sprinkle of uncertainty. And then, it's off to the races. You get it? Yeah, that one landed. I can tell. One by one, you start revealing cards from the top of the racing deck, and moving the corresponding mascots in the way listed on the card. But these aren't Olympic sprinters, remember? These are mascots. They're clumsy, they're top-heavy, and they can barely see. Not only will some of these cards cause them to run in the wrong direction, but if a mascot ever collides with another mascot, it causes them to fall down. Once they've fallen down, the mascot can only crawl from that point forward. If a card would ever have a fallen down mascot move more than 1 space, they instead crawl their clumsy little bum 1 space in the direction indicated, regardless as to how many spaces are listed on the card. There are cards that allow them to recover, but if for any reason the mascot is forced to fall down for a second time without having recovered, they're knocked out and disqualified from the race. Disqualified mascots are immediately placed in the lowest unoccupied space on the podium. But mascots can also be disqualified in 2 other ways. One is by running off the back or side of the field, and the other is by the racing deck running out of cards to draw from, resulting in a reshuffle. When the racing deck runs out of cards, the 3 cards that were removed from it originally are added back into the deck, it's reshuffled, and then 3 new cards are removed. This creates a slightly new racing deck with most of the DNA of the original one. The yellow bar at the back of the field is then used to fold the field over until that yellow bar is on the next white line on the board. If a mascot is ever caught under the folded part of the field as a result of this, you guessed it, they're disqualified. Play continues by revealing cards from the deck until 3 mascots have placed, by either crossing the finish line or by being disqualified. When 3 mascots place, the remaining mascot is immediately placed in the remaining space on the podium, and then everyone receives the payouts listed on their bets. The bets are then reset, everyone is dealt back 1 card from the racing deck, and a new round commences. After 3 rounds of betting and races, whoever has the most money is the winner. Congratulations, you're now a degenerate gambler. So, what did I like about Hot Streak? I gotta talk about the mascots first, right? Just look at these little bros. Not only are the miniatures included in the game awesome and full of character, but the rulebook even includes hilarious backstories for all of them. My personal favorites out of the bunch are probably Hurley and Dangle. The game is already absurd enough to play as it is, but the mascots just turn that absurdity up to 11. It's awesome. Speaking of how absurd the game is, the effect that this game has on your group is electric. I've played this with experienced players and non-gamers. I've played it at a convention with strangers, and at home with close friends. I've played this game both sober during game nights, and at a party where everyone was smashed to oblivion. In every single one of those instances, everybody was having a great time by round 2. People are always cheering, screaming, and usually cussing at the mascots as none of them do what you expected them to. The game just devolves into loud, chaotic joy, and it's a really fun environment to be in. Consistently, I've seen this game give everybody the freedom to just let loose and have a good time while playing this game, even when you're losing. With everybody shouting and screaming and cussing, the game turns into one of the most socially liberating games I've played in a while. Plus, it's hilarious hearing everybody scream about the bun banger for the rest of the night. Everyone tends to get really focused on the fact that he's a bun banger. Bun banger. Also, I love how intuitive the game becomes. It's one of those games where when you finish playing 1 round, everyone at the table understands the game and is now actively involved in it. You'll almost never need to reference the rulebook again after the initial teach. Another great thing about Hot Streak as well is that not only does your money determine who wins the game, but it also determines how the rest of your life is gonna go. The back of the rulebook literally has 100 hilarious different endings that you can read aloud at the conclusion of the game. They describe what happens to you after the race based on your winnings. Some of the endings are good for you, some of the endings are bad, but they're all gonna be hilarious. And it makes the game a really enjoyable experience for everyone that played, even if you ended up losing. And lastly, you know what time it is. It's box time! Folks, we may possibly have my second favorite board game box of all time here. What's the first, you ask? Now come on, don't get greedy. That review's coming soon. You'll see. But Hot Streak? Oh baby, is this a good box. First, let's get into the storage solution. The box opens from the top and has a storage compartment at the bottom with plastic holders that you can snap the miniatures into. They work perfectly too, keeping those clumsy little mascots nice and safe. Plus, the box has a cool little viewing window into the compartment that lets you see the mascots from outside of the box. Because there are so few components in the game in general, everything is stored in a small removable tray that rests above the mascots. And they even provide a nice card box to keep the cards protected while they're in the tray. Yeah, things can still move around, but in my experience, that really hasn't been an issue. I think the storage solution here is creative, looks great, and it does the job really well. Now, let's talk about how they integrated the box into the game. Whenever a game tries to use a box as a crucial component of the game, I always feel a little bit nervous. Boxes serve the purpose of containing, organizing, and protecting the game. So when a box is also used as a game component, I always get worried that it's going to get damaged through wear and tear, more so than I would with a game that doesn't use the box as a component. In this particular case, I 100% do not care. The podium being printed on top of the box, the field getting pulled out of the box, the little knobs on the side to crank the field back into the box, it all just adds to the goofy, toyish vibe of the game. I actually don't think they could have done a better job than they did here. I think they absolutely nailed the assignment on the box here, and I love it. It was recently brought to my attention that the people that design box inserts are typically titled mechanical engineers. Well, one of the Puppet Tabletop community members recommended we call them boxers when they pack a punch like this. And in this case, CMYK definitely has some boxers working with him, because this box is in a league of its own. Y'all knocked it out of the park on this one. So, what did I not like? Well, like usual, I have some nitpicks. One thing that remained consistent across all playthroughs, with experienced and non-experienced players alike, was that for all the new players, the game didn't really click until round 2. The rules are simple, but conceptually it's a bit odd to wrap your head around through just an explanation. Because of this is one of those games that you're going to want to do a practice round, or maybe just give a demo of real quick before you start the game. Another thing worth mentioning is that the game encourages players to coordinate or bluff with each other about what cards they're adding to the deck. While this did happen to some degree, the information about what will or won't end up in the deck and the order that it's going to be revealed in is so up in the air that it's kind of hard to strategize. As a result, the coordination and strategizing and bluffing aspect of the game just kind of takes a backseat to everything else. It's not really a game that's designed to be played super strategically. It's a little too loosey-goosey and chaotic for that kind of thing, which is a little disappointing. I do wish that there was some kind of mechanism that incentivized that kind of coordination a little bit better. The last thing I want to mention is that there's a lot of mechanics and stuff at play here that feels very similar to a lot of other betting games out there. I personally see a lot of overlap between this game and, say, Camel Up, for example. I'm absolutely obsessed with the mascot theme, so owning this and Camel Up at the same time does feel worth it to me, but if you already own a similar betting game and your heart isn't completely set on Hot Streak, then I would recommend trying it first before adding it to your collection, just to see if it feels different enough to be worth it. But all of that being said, I really don't have anything major that I disliked about Hot Streak. I think it's great. Now for the solo review, please welcome our resident solo reviewer, Mortimer.
No, I'm not doing it.
Dude, get out here, you're making me look stupid.
Why? Just so I can come out and say there's no solo mode? No thank you.
Listen, you're contractually obligated to get out here and do this segment, Mortimer. Just get out here and do your job, bro.
Ugh, fine. Guess I'll say it. There's no solo mode. You happy?
Thank you, Mortimer.
Gosh, what's your bringing me out here trying to...
So that's Hot Streak. It's a wacky and chaotic party game that really is something special. It's got loads of charm, one of the best boxes I've seen in a while, and it's practically impossible to play without everybody shouting and laughing the whole time. If you don't already own a similar betting game in your collection, and Hot Streak looks like something that you would enjoy, the odds are you probably will. It's definitely going to be staying in my collection, and it's going to become one of my go-to party games moving forward. It's just a really good time. Well, that's going to do it for this one. As always, thanks for watching, and remember to shop at your local board game store if you can. Okay, so if a duvet cover makes washing the duvet easier, does that mean people wash their duvet less than the comforter? I don't understand.